Talk the Tings Black History Spotlight with our celebrity guest, Mr. C. Welcome to CHAMPS and Giggles Evening of Entertainment. Tonight's spotlight, Mohammed Ali.
Phenomenal.
Exactly.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Talk the ting. Talk the ting.
It's because when he spent some time in America, that's what happened. He came back with a little bit of a twang. Isn't that right, Joe?
Just a little bit, just a little bit. We're working on it.
But I think that adds to his character. I love it.
I do as well, yeah. But not after he said it about 1,000 times in one night, though.
Oh, Lord of mercy.
Oh, I'm not going to say phenomenal anymore.
Phenomenal.
The thing is now, you see, like what
Sausages.
So whenever, hold on, I can only see a few people. Right. So whenever you're ready, Mrs. C, I will try to follow along. So this will give some sort of visual, and you can talk the things.
Not, but then, no, man, get rid of this. I don't want that.
What don't you want?
No, get rid of that because then I can't see my screen now.
Oh, you can't see? What, are you on your computer?
Yeah, but just get rid of that, man.
Get rid of the image.
No. You know what? Don't worry. Leave it. I know exactly what to do. Don't worry. Leave it. Left it right there, mate.
Mate.
Left it right there, mate. I know how to do, mate.
To be more accommodating to our hosts.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all good.
My dad says, mate.
It's perfect, mate. So,
Mr. C, your ladies always crack me up every Tuesday. You just make me laugh.
What, the impressions?
They're just so awful, but I just get it.
Awful.
I just get it.
Let's up. All right, so today I wanted for us to talk about my greatest hero apart from my mum, who of course is Muhammad Ali. Can we give him a round of applause, please, man? The late great Muhammad Ali, born January the 17th, 1942.
Same day as my husband.
Same day as your husband.
What?
Oh, in a year.
Not same year. Not same year.
Well, I was just about to
That's
say.
what I was thinking.
Not same year.
You said there's a 10-year difference, and I said you're an old Clark Bridget if you're down by them. So
Yeah. Well, that's lucky for you. Wonderful. Yeah, so he was born obviously not as Muhammad Ali. Does anybody know what his original name was?
Cassius Clay.
I want his full name.
His middle name.
Oh, I forgot that middle name.
Jemmy had this as a question.
Exactly. Targeting Jimmy.
Cassius Adolphus Clay, yeah?
Not Adolphus, no. But very close. It has a us at the end.
Marcellus
Clay Jr. There you go.
Marcellus Wallace.
So get rid of that now, Joe, because you're gonna spoil everything, Mike. So whereabouts in the US of A was he born, ladies and gentlemen?
Tennessee, was it?
Mississippi.
Close.
Mississippi.
Dallas.
Clock.
Kentucky.
That's it. Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's the same place as the Colonel. And the actual town that he was born in was his very first nickname, which was his very first nickname was about the place in Kentucky where he was born. He was known as the
Butterfly, yeah.
I don't know why.
That's not a butterfly. Where'd you get a butterfly from there?
What am I playing with?
Big lips.
What? I don't want to know what you're playing with.
That's why I got my hands out here like this. For this question, if my hands was like here, it'd be a different.
Kipper lips.
He was known as the Louisville Lips. That was his original nickname.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That was his original nickname. So obviously, does anybody know how he got into boxing? The story of how he got into boxing.
Was he bullied?
Yes. So young Cassius was out riding his bike one day, and I'm not too sure whether he went to the shops and he left his bike at the store, or whether some other boys had actually grabbed him and pulled him. But he literally got bullied. They took his bike and that's what got him into the boxing ring at the tender young age of 12.
Wow.
So again, you know, if any of you have got children who've got bicycles and their bicycles get teeth, don't worry about it.
Let them box.
Yeah, your son could well be on the way to becoming the next heavyweight champion of the world. Or if you've got a daughter on dumplings, she could be the next heavyweight.
Dumplings.
She could be the next heavyweight champion of the world.
Boiled dumpling or fried dumpling?
It doesn't matter. She fat. It doesn't matter. But once he was in the ring, man, he was just like you know, as they say, a duck to water, a Jamaican to immigration. He was just.
That's terrible, man.
Huh? It was just a match made in heaven. It was just a match made in heaven, you know. And by the time he'd reached 18, he'd already won his first gold medal. So, but what was the big fight that put Muhammad Ali on the map? What was the big
Rumble
fight?
in the Jungle.
George Foreman.
Rumble in the Jungle. I think
Sonny Liston.
Thank you very much. Who said Sonny Liston?
Me, Norris.
Norris, man.
Norris. Well done,
Norris, the
Norris.
encyclopedia.
Yes, man, it definitely was. It was Sonny Liston, because to be honest with you, nobody thought he had a chance in hell to beat Sonny Liston. Sonny Liston was a bit like getting how can I put this? It was like Jemmy versus PJ.
Come on.
David and Goliath.
Everybody, David and Goliath. Everybody was thinking Jemmy's gonna get licks. He's gonna get thumped up. By the time PJ finished with him, Jemmy's gonna be blacker than PJ. That's what everybody thought.
You're fucked up, Bridget. You fucking Ross.
Nobody thought he was gonna come out for the tour, but yeah, it was that. But on his journey, I mean, I think for myself, there was something what Muhammad Ali did, which was different than any other sports person or any other person, I think, in living history. Is that before he became the heavyweight champion of the world, he actually told people he was going to be the heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah.
You know, he went to all of his local stores, all of his local friends. He told everybody he's going to be the next heavyweight champion of the world. But in addition to that, he made one other claim, which for me is a testimony of the power of words. And who knows what that statement was, what he made before he became the heavyweight champion of the world.
You predict the wrongs?
No. It's almost like a tagline of his. We all know float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, but there's something else.
I am the greatest.
I'm the greatest.
There you go. I am the greatest. And he said that before he was the greatest.
Right.
And I just wanted to pick up on that because it's the power of that affirmation.
Yeah.
But it's about self-belief though, isn't it? See, because actually he wasn't the greatest boxer in the world, but because he actually went out there and he professed it and he told everybody, if you ask anybody who was the greatest boxer in the world, I would say a very large percentage of people would say Muhammad Ali, although he wasn't. But what he did is he spoke it into reality.
Yes,
he
definitely.
had so much self-belief, you know, and that's what he wanted people to think of him as, and he just spoke it in, and that's how he was perceived.
Yeah,
and he's like a cerebral assassin as well. His opponents, he breaks them down mentally before he steps in the ring.
Oh, 100%.
Well, psychology. Yeah, like I said, broke them down before even the bell rang.
Yeah. He had got to them, but I mean, he said in an interview once, he said that the fact that all of the you know, the poems and all of the bravado that he was doing before the fights, he said you know, he hadn't made the fight easy for him, because he said his opponents now would just want to fight him much more harder. So he was like saying, like, even when he fought Foreman, like Foreman wanted to kill him because of all the teasing and everything that he'd done beforehand.
All the bravado.
Yeah. So, you know, but as far as he was concerned, he loved that, because he said the harder they tried to beat him, the more they've tired themselves out. So he used to have great fun in actually when they go into that little clinch, almost like what we used to do back in the day with Lovers Rock. When we had that little clinch.
I mean, we used to. We used to back in the day. You still
We
do,
used to.
man.
We don't do it anymore now. We don't. Yeah. We don't do it.
Calm. It'll start up again.
Yeah. But
Start the things, Norris. Start the things.
Yeah.
Talk for yourself. I still king.
Yeah. How long ago did you take the Viagra?
Oh God. Oh God.
No, because all I heard, sometimes with this earpiece, I don't hear good, All I heard is
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for things to kick in. But he used to also talk to his opponents during the fight as well.
Yeah.
So with Foreman and I think even Fraser,
Chastise them.
once they'd literally punched themselves out and they was in that embrace, he would whisper in their ears, "Oh, this is the wrong place to be tired now." But you could imagine he had a certain way about him, man. But I think from a very, very young age, people see the brilliance in him. Hence why in his hometown, a group of local white guys got together and they decided to back him, put money and provide everything that he needed because they could see his talent at a very, very young age. And again, he went to the Olympics, won gold at the the year. Hold on, I'm looking for the year.
It was in Rome, I think. Actually, was it 64?
60.
68. It was in Rome.
Yeah. And so he won the gold medal, and he was such a proud person that when he came back with that gold medal, he felt on top of the world. But something happened to him, and does anybody remember the story of what happened to him when he came back from America with the gold medal?
Couldn't get into a shop.
They wanted him to enlist in the Vietnam War.
No, that's a lot further down.
He wasn't accepted in his hometown.
He chucked the river. He chucked the medal in the river.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, he got rid of it.
He came back and he wasn't allowed into a particular shop or whatever because he was and he took that medal and he dashed it into the river.
Oh.
Yeah. I've dived in there a couple of times to see if I can find it.
It's worth a bit now.
Yeah, cause it must be worth a little bit. No, it must be worth a little bit now. But I just, for me, it just showed his at a very young age that he's got a side to him that certain things, certain trinkets don't mean anything to him if he can't have his own dignity. And that was a testimony throughout his boxing career. Obviously, he changed his name from Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. to, as we now know him, Muhammad Ali. He was converted through
Islam.
Nation of Islam. Yep.
That Farrakhan.
Malcolm in it brought him into
Malcolm, and also the dishonorable Elijah Muhammad as well. Allegedly, allegedly the dishonorable Elijah Muhammad.
the whole heap I picked them.
For some of the things that he was carrying on with. But as regards to the Nation of Islam, we shall I still respect their ethics of what they do for black people. But I think their involvement in Muhammad Ali's life, we have to really commend that. We have to really give that proper props. So I don't know, how do people feel about Muhammad Ali being a member of the Nation of Islam? What did that mean to you as because I'm just taking it, a lot of us, when we was watching Muhammad Ali back then, we knew very little of the Nation of Islam, and most of us were Christians. So I just wanted to find out how people felt as regards to him being a member of that religion, and did that prick up any questions or questions for yourself?
Well, at the time it was needed, isn't it? Because I think they were the first black activists, weren't they?
Possibly. I'm not too sure if they was out before Black Panther Party. Most likely. Yeah.
I thought Black Panthers came late 60s, 70s.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll accept that. But how did you feel, Joseph? That's the question.
We talk about now or talk about
no, back then. When you first saw Muhammad Ali and you heard about this nation, he's a Muslim, Nation of Islam. You being a Christian, what did you think? What did you feel? That's the question.
It did have no effect on me at all. At all. It's
No?
just a person. He's a great man, a great boxer. He changed his name, and the kerfuffle that Americans are making all over it. I think that's nonsense. But I didn't see anything past that because I didn't know anything about Nation of Islam.
It had an effect on me. I'd like to share what it was.
Yes, please.
It was the first time.
Sorry.
Watkinson.
Yeah.
Watkinson, sorry.
It was the first time I came to realize that my name was given, it's like something we inherited from slave masters. Because before then I was not aware of this.
And same for myself, Watkinson.
Yeah.
But it also made us realise that Islam was, for me, I was grown up believing that Islam was an Asian faith rather than an African one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think
those
if I was to have a quick word.
Yes, please, Mr. B.
For me, it was, apart from Joe Johnson, the boxer, it was the first time I saw an outspoken black person on TV saying what he felt like without any fear of anything.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And the reason why the Nation of Islam was very important to him is that it gave him that knowledge, that information, and gave him that confidence to say so. The only other person that was Malcolm X, and in the world he was an activist, so Malcolm X gets pushed to the side. But when you have Ali, who's on every single station, interview, etc., defending himself in regards to what white people were doing at the time and their persecution and everything else of the black man, that for me was like, wow, this person's more than boxing. I would agree with Kaz that he was not the greatest. He said he was the greatest, and we think of him as the greatest, but at the time he wasn't the greatest because he couldn't beat Joe Frazier. That was his nemesis. But an outspoken black individual was powerful. The only other person apart from him was I forgot his name now. I'll find his name for you.
But there was James Brown around that time as well, actually.
Yeah, but no, James Brown wasn't. James Brown represented something else to me. Muhammad Ali said, "You, the white people, are my persecutor. You, why can't I say this? Why can't I say that? You are my enemy. You." When he fought against Vietnam and everything else, he was the most outspoken person. And me learning about Muhammad Ali, that's what made me actually look at him as like somebody that you should listen to. And the only dying shame was the fact that he had the Legion. Is it Legionnaire he had?
Parkinson's.
Parkinson's. That's the only thing. And even then, I think the way he fought it and carried on made you realize, look, it's not the end of the road.
Yep.
You know what,
Thank you very much for that.
I would argue that he was the greatest, to be honest with you, because I think the greatest does not mean that you have to be the best in only one discipline.
Come on now.
You know, so
we'll have an argument later on, Watkinson. We'll have an argument.
Okay. I don't want to argue. I
think they should get in the ring and fight.
I should not use that. Sorry.
No. You know what? I think that's a fair comment. I think some of us will see him as the greatest of all time. Some people would see him as the greatest of that time. So, but whichever, he was definitely the greatest in any of those two moments at all.
He's the greatest sporting icon, the greatest sporting icon ever. You cannot, if you don't know Muhammad Ali, then you don't know about sports, but he's the greatest icon. You can name all the greats in their own fields and no top Muhammad Ali for what he represented, what he has done, and what he has achieved. He's the first man that brought money into the heavyweight boxing in the world. He brought money into it.
Yeah, well, yeah, along with the legendary Don King. I just want to backtrack slightly.
Can I just say something?
Yes,
Watkinson, Mr. Blair is a big softie, so don't think you're going into any ring with him. Don't be put off by him, Watkinson. Lord of mercy.
You know,
wait.
Can I just drop a name, actually?
Come back, yeah?
Just put a jumper on him, he calms down.
Sorry, go on. Somebody wanted to say something.
Can I just drop a name, actually? You know, when you say greatest, I'll say he was the greatest boxer, but I wouldn't say he was the greatest sports person. I mean, for me,
hold on.
For me, I'll say Jesse Owens.
Okay.
Jesse Owens. Yeah.
Did you hear that silence? That was the
freedom of speech.
I heard this. I saw the tumbleweed.
Well,
Yes.
Do you know what? Do you know what? Do you know what?
I'll say Jesse Owens rather than Muhammad Ali, in my opinion.
Why Jesse? No, hold on. Why Jesse Owens?
Because he, at the time, black people. I mean, well, around that time, a lot of racism in America. Then he had to go to. Then he represented
Germany.
America. Went to Germany, ran in front of Hitler. Then Hitler was running off his mouth for saying how the Aryan race was the best race and this, that, and the other, and black people couldn't achieve anything. Yet Jesse Owens, under all that pressure, won all those gold medals.
All right, so I would say this: Jesse Owens was used by the Americans to represent something. He was good at what he done, and he did go through a lot himself, but he wasn't outspoken for what he went through. He didn't fight for every black person in America. He just did what he was told. So
it was a different time. It was a different era, though. Anyway, that was in 19.
Yeah, but hold on. Before you talk about different time, right? I mentioned the boxer before, Muhammad Ali, Joe Johnson. Yeah,
Joe Johnson.
You could not treat him. But he went out there and he raised hell. Please read up on that, brother.
Yeah. And he was dating white women in a time when just speaking to a white woman or looking at a white woman could get you lynched.
He dated more than one. And when he
was throwing wood in them like
listen, they loved him. If you know about boxing, right? They always have what they call the Great White Hope, and they brought this guy out to fight him, and the whole world, right, wanted to see this guy fight this, and he beat the shit out of him. He did it on purpose. There's a movie made with James Earl Jones about it. He beat, and they said don't do it, and he did it on purpose to show you brought this guy against me. I'm gonna knock him down, and he beat him in such a way that they burnt the town down. There was lynching going on.
They got upset.
They got upset, but they could not touch him. They could not touch him, and he fought. The worst thing about him, he fought to a ripe old age and to his exhibition, and then he just looked. But they made his life hell. But they keep putting people against him, and he was knocking them out. And
there's another bit to that story that you've missed out. That
sorry, sir.
Because it was probably at that time one of the most televised fights ever.
Yes.
But the actual punch what Johnson delivered to knock the guy out, they cut it because they didn't want to see a black man knocking a white man out. So they cut that bit of they stopped it before you could actually see it happen. But anyway, we want to come back to Muhammad Ali. Thank you very much for your contribution as regards to Jesse Owens in front of Hitler, which I mean must have been daunting at the time because however, I think with Ali, he had a kind of charisma and a care for his people that I don't think we've ever seen before. Or seen again, to be honest with you. And I think that's what endeared him to a lot of people, that number one, he was so damn handsome, no homo, but I couldn't care less what anybody will think. The man he was probably one of the most handsomest, if that's a word, men on the planet.
Really?
Muhammad Ali, without a shadow of a doubt, at that time, I think he was just so
he was smooth.
He was smooth. He was articulate, even though he wasn't educated.
Yeah, he was very articulate.
Because literally, from once he started,
I suppose it's what you mean by a definition of education. Because in actual fact, some of his interviews, he sounded like the most educated individual going.
No, when I'm talking about education, I'm talking about school,
academia.
Yeah. So he left school at a very, very young age. Rumor has it that he was probably illiterate as well, that he couldn't read and that he possibly couldn't write. I can't verify that, but that's the rumor. Some people say that he was possibly slightly dyslexic as well, hence why he spoke so much. But my God, he was eloquent. He was good looking. He was 6 foot. He was a perfect specimen of how a man should look. I know, guys. I had to say that, but It's the truth. It's the truth.
That's man up to dead.
I don't take no offense. He was what he was in the boxing world. The boxing world. He was a handsome man in the boxing world.
Yeah. And I think as well with Ali is that what we have to say is that he did things which at the time nobody else was doing. He gave, through his teachings of Islam, it gave us a kind of a voice that nobody else was, that it wasn't being heard anywhere else on the platforms that he had available. And the clip that I really wanted to show today, and I'm so upset that I can't find it, is his 1971 interview with Michael Parkinson. Because for me, being a young guy watching that with my mum and my dad at the time, I knew of Muhammad Ali, the boxer. I knew that the heavyweight champion of the world was a black man who was just absolutely awesome. And I've watched many a person, a celebrity on Michael Parkinson's show and enjoyed the show. But that interview there was one that changed me forever. And I'll explain it to you. I wish I could have shown it to you, but I'll explain it to you. So it starts off, because I think it's
on YouTube.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah,
But-
I've got it.
It's on YouTube. Bob.
No, listen to me and listen to me good. When I say I spent 8 hours today trying to
But
find
the proper interview, Mr. C, then, yeah?
trying to find a clip from that interview that I wanted, I'm telling you, it's not there. And I'm gonna try and explain the reasoning why it's not there anymore. Because what you'll find is that all the ones where are in good quality, number one, the BBC has blocked them. And anyone which is in its full entirety, the BBC have blocked it as well. So what you'll find on YouTube at the moment is really poor quality sound-wise ones, and it's not the full interview.
Not that one.
Which one?
Yeah, that might be a part of it, but it's not the bit that Mrs.
22 minutes.
Yeah, okay. No, let Mr. C explain it and then we can see if we can find it.
Somebody just said they found it.
They can't find what's in your mind.
Is that one?
So there's more than one interview with Parkinson.
Okay,
So
let me explain. I'll give you context. The one what I'm talking about is from 1971. It would have a red background. Ali's wearing a kind of like a light kind of greeny kind of grey kind of suit, and he's on the right hand side. Let me see what you're showing me, Jem. I can't see it properly.
That's Michael Parkinson.
No, he's wearing a blue. No, that's a blue suit. It's the one with the red background. That's the one. That one. But you can't find it from the beginning. You can't find it.
I've got 10 minutes of it.
Yes, but again, it's not the bit what I'm talking about. So
and it says part 4. So
yeah, it's in 4 parts.
To it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the bit what I'm talking about is I think it would have been in part 2, but they've edited it. So if I put it into context and I say this is a perfect example for me, because it was the first lesson in broadcasting and interviewing that I'd ever experienced. So it starts off, Parkinson starts off being a gentleman that he is, and being very charismatic. It gives Muhammad Ali the warm welcome that he deserves. And again, I'm going from memory because again, I haven't seen the clip for many years now. And he gets him comfortable on the show. And then what happens, he's talking about Muhammad Ali's book, or a book what somebody's written about Muhammad Ali. In fact, it's a book that somebody's written about Muhammad Ali. And then he literally on national television tries to ask Muhammad Ali a series of very, very tricky questions. Like number one, saying that your religion says that white people are the devil. However, you've got as it comes to celebrities, you have more white friends than most black celebrities. So again, he's now on national television questioning him about his religion. Now, the way how Ali deals with a series of these questions is just a masterclass in putting people in their place, not being fearful to speak your mind and speak the truth, and again to not even humble yourself in the presence of fools. So he says to him literally, how can you come and ask me a question like this on national TV? Imagine if I couldn't answer this question now. All of my people, all of my black people, you know, you'd embarrass me about my religion. You'd embarrass me. You'd cause problems between me and thing. He said, number one, I haven't got white friends. I've got white associates.
God.
That was my first lesson, the difference between friends and associates. Yeah. He said, oh, and then Michael Parkinson does this thing which a lot of white people do to us on a daily basis, where they honestly believe that they're superior to us. And even though, you know, Muhammad Ali is the biggest character in the world, there's little undertones of what Michael Parkinson is saying, but Ali picks him up on every single bit. So he comes with a next question, such as, oh, I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head. He says,
I think I found it though.
Yeah?
Those
Well,
are
27 minutes long.
Ooh.
Can't play 27 minutes.
I've just sent it to you, Mr. C.
You have, yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Anyway, continue, because the story's good.
Yeah.
So put the link, if you can copy the link into the chat.
Yes. So literally, the one of the next questions that he drops on him now is about oh gosh, it's about you know, the bit that says that, you know, he talks about riches or whatever, and he says, you know, he talks about you know, money is the root of all evil or something like that, along those kind of lines, but yet he's got a Rolls Royce. Muhammad Ali corrects him straight away. He says, no, I got 2 Rolls Royces.
Oh my neck.
But then he goes to explain, this bit is, you'll find this bit on there. He explains the reason why he's got all of this wealth, and the reason why he has 2 Rolls Royces and blah blah blah. And it's just beautiful seeing somebody in that position explaining the reason why they've got these trappings of success. But the thing for me, which, and I think this is the reason why they've taken it down and why it's no longer available on YouTube.
What was his reason? What was his reason?
Whose reason?
Muhammad Ali's reason for,
because he was saying that when he's talking to black people, especially, he says that if he's just poor and humble and hasn't got anything, black people don't want to talk to him. Nobody wants to talk to anybody or listen to anybody who's poor. But if he drives up, if he pulls up next to somebody who's, you know, doing well in business, and he pulls up next to them in his Rolls Royce, and he says, "Hey, my brother, how you doing? You want to come down to the mosque to hear blah blah blah?" He's saying, "Well, you know what? My man's got a Rolls Royce. He must know what he's talking about."
No, not inspired to be him.
Yeah. So that's what he was saying. However, Ali said something to Parkinson, saying like, suppose you asked me this question on TV and I couldn't have answered, what would have happened to the effect that it would have had on my people? And Parkinson was trying to say, oh no, he said, you know, backstage you was all nice with me, and then you come and drop this question on me like this. You never told me nothing about you was going to ask me these kind of questions. So he's showing us that how underhand Parkinson was being. And then Muhammad Ali makes a statement which I'll never forget. He said, you can, you know, he says, pull out another one. Ask me another question and see. Yeah, ask me a question. I'm sure you got more there. Pull out another question. And he goes, well, you know, it's not like that. And then Parkinson says something like, well, okay, we'll see. And Ali says, you see that? You see what he said? We'll see. Okay, we'll see then. He said, you cannot question me on anything to do with my race, color, religion, or me. You know, I'm intellectually more smarter than you. I'm stronger than you. He literally chastised him in a way that I've never, ever seen anything like it in my life.
He beat him.
And he lifted me up out of my seat. And from that moment, he was forevermore my hero. And, you know,
I think I've seen that interview actually. I'm
yeah,
sure.
man.
Years and years
I
and
remember
years
seeing
ago,
it.
I think I have seen
I
that.
think they've shown it again as well.
Yeah, but it's such an important interview for us to show our children, especially, because it's bits of the man which we don't really get to see. You know, it's like Martin Luther King's last speech. They don't really show that. They show his "I have a dream" speech, but they don't show his last speech.
That's the only speech they show. I have a dream speech.
Yeah,
if you look for Martin
many times.
Yeah, but if what I'm saying that these are key moments in our history which shows us exactly the nature of the beast, and how we can be not victims but be victorious in dealing with it. So again, you know, just moving things forward, because I don't want to drag it out too long, but that was the bit what I really wanted to show when Joseph said, you know, about a hero. And I'm going to make sure that I try and track that clip down and find it, even if I have to go to, because BBC control that clip at the moment, and they haven't even got it in their archives on BBC 4. They're not showing that clip anymore. So I'm going to try and track that clip down so that more people can see it. But moving things on is again, we can see the testimony of this man when it came to the draft, that the Vietnam War was happening, and I couldn't imagine what it would have been like in that time where they've told him he's got to be in the army, and if he's not going to be in the army, they're going to strip away not only his titles, excuse me, but the ability for him to fight, to box.
His license. Took away his license.
And they never just took away his license for him to box in America. They took away his license so that he couldn't box anywhere on the planet.
What? I didn't know they did that to him.
Yeah, they revoked everything from him. He couldn't travel, and they took away his license and his title. They basically took away his ability to earn money.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is why, for me, this is why we've got to say that Muhammad Ali was the greatest, because this happened to him in his prime.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was denied the right to fight in his prime for, I think, was it 4 years?
Yeah, about that time. It's quite a long time for anybody in any sports to be able to, because people have to understand, when you actually revoke someone's license, that you can't go in a ring and train. You can't do anything. It's like when you do athletics, you can't actually continue training. So you have to just stay where you are. You can't train. You can't be associated with anything. Do your license. So he could just do his run. But so they take that away. So for someone to come back in those times after 4 years, 5 years, to start training again to be boxing, and he was young then, and boxers didn't go into like 30 them days.
Exactly.
18 rounds we're talking about. Not 12 rounds, 10 rounds. We're talking 15 to 18 rounds.
Wow.
A lot from him.
So yeah, so it was 1966 that happened, and that decision didn't get overturned until 1971.
Wow.
You know, so he lost a lot of prime time. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if we look at Joseph now, like Joseph now is, how old are you now, Joseph?
22.
21. So if we took those years now, from Joseph being
21 Jamaican years, yeah.
And we stopped Joseph from doing what he's doing for the next 5 years. That means by the them 5 years are up, Joseph is now 75, ladies and gentlemen. So put it into
fair play. Whatever oil of ugly you're using, Joseph, can we have some?
Yeah.
Sure.
And this is why, in defense or in argument as to why Muhammad Ali is even more of a greater athlete than Jesse Owens, is that Muhammad Ali came back and won the title.
Come on now.
Still, after that time out. And, you know, if Jesse Owens didn't run for 5 years, would he still, you know...
They wouldn't, because that's what happens. If they take you out of your sport for a period of time, that allows everyone else to catch up with you. So if you then come back, people are actually better than you because they've had that extra time that you have of competition that you haven't had. So for him to come back and win after 5 years after what they did, that was amazing. That was truly amazing.
Yeah. So I just want to finish up on obviously a couple of fights with Muhammad Ali. Of course, I think we have to start with the big one, the one that made boxing a different kind of beast.
Is that the Rumble in the Jungle?
Rumble in the motherfucking jungle. Wow.
Time check now, Mr. C, yeah? Time check.
Sorry. All right, we'll finish. All right, you know what? If you don't know about the Rumble in the Jungle, you have to show it to your children. If you don't know about the Thriller in Manila,
right?
Listen, I hope you're going to say, Mr. C. I hope you're going to say, Mr. C, is the fact that as a boxer, and remember who Muhammad Ali is, he took boxing out of America.
Yes.
Took it to these countries, Africa and
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
in Philippines. He took it to there to the people. So that's what I hope Mr. C was going to say, is that he took it out of America and brought money, and these fan bases all there. So the Rumble in the Jungle, big. The Film Manila, big.
Yeah.
We're talking about, I think it was 100 million or 100 million people watched that fight.
Wow.
Big.
And we're talking about before cable TV and everything. So we're talking about on proper terrestrial TV. You know, Thriller in Rumble in the Jungle, first time in Africa. I can still hear the people them chanting Ali Boombaye, Ali Boombaye.
Big.
So we'll finish up on Muhammad Ali was, for me, he will always be a legend. He will always be the greatest. This was the first book that I had about Muhammad Ali, given to me by my cousin. It never goes anywhere else. And on my birthday, the 2nd of June, I got to meet the great man himself.
I've met him too.
Yeah. His Life and Times by Thomas Hauser, who was his photographer. And there you go, the signature of the great man himself, Muhammad Ali.
Oh, emotional.
Nice one.
His daughters as well. Twin daughters. So that was big for me, man. I met him twice when he came to the UK, and I'm going to finish up on that to say that, he signed that on my birthday, and I found it ironic that when he passed away, it was one day after my birthday, so it's the 3rd of June, 2016. So he will be forever more the greatest, not just because of what he did for boxing, but for what he did to black people all over the world. And he brought a bit of humanity, humor, and an amazement of showing how we could be as human beings if we just believe in ourselves and just say, I am. I am. So whatever it is you want to do, don't say I hope to be, I want to be, one day I will be. Say I am.
Come on now.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
I am Mr. C.
Come on, C.
Well done, man. Well done.
That's up. Muhammad Ali was definitely in the building. Great job. Did
I do that in 15 minutes, Joe? Was that 15?
No, you're the greatest, man.
That was 15 minutes.
You're the greatest. Don't worry.
Black man 15 minutes.
So.
You're funny.
Very enjoyable.
Thank you.
He was a great man for sure. There's just no doubt about it. And you portrayed.
Joe, wasn't he phenomenal?
I tried to. Right, he was phenomenal. I mean, let's be
phenomenal.
We are going to move on and discuss. Can you not see the screen here?
Yes.
Ultravision.
Hello, Neville.
Hi, Neville.
Hi, Neville.
Neville. Inspire. They literally launched November 29th. It's the online channel for Black Britain. And we have with us here in the building none other than the man himself, Ultravision C.
Neville on camera.
Are you that?
Neville. I'm Shiv.
Neville
clean. Look clean.
Young blood. Young blood.
What soap you using, bro? What soap you using?
and that's not Neville. That's a clone.
Mr. C, how long time, Carl? How you doing, sir?
Everything's good, family. Everything's good. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
I don't need to ask you. You look good, boy. Yeah. Television run good.
Thank you for watching, and join us next week as we talk the things.